like for most of us who do a 9 to 5 job or an extended hour job,
Yeah.
like for everybody it is like I want to become a manager. And this was a discussion when I left my job last year, and then we had gone to see some of our seniors just for a meeting, and then we saw their offices, and then a few of us, we were three colleagues, and we were discussing, I want to be in that room, in a
Yeah,
year.
yeah.
I want to be here and I want to be there. So in spirituality as well, like even when I do art of living, um, sometimes when you're in the course, I want to be that teacher, or I want to be the yoga teacher. So would you say that these two things are the same? And somebody like amongst the three of us, the three colleagues, I was like, no, I don't want to be I don't want that office or anything. I'm okay, I'm fine. But yeah, the other quest was going on. Maybe I want to be a happiness teacher. So do you also reflect back, and do you also get these things in mind, that now that you are, let's say you're a program director now, but at certain point, did you think that, I want to be this, or I want to travel around with, like a lot of people have this aspiration, I want to travel around with Gurudev, and I want to be in the senior lot of people who are around with him. So what kind of aspirations, I would, if I have to frame it this way, what kind of aspirations Swami has?
Well, I mean, I can only speak for myself, of course, but I think for me, the way I see it, this is like the the final destination. In the sense, I remember earlier, like you said, no, at some point, this desire came up, or this intention that, oh, I would like to, like, first I became a volunteer. Then I thought, oh, it'd be so nice to help organize these courses. And then at some point I felt I would love to become an art of living teacher, that I myself can conduct these programs.
Yeah.
And then of course you would see that with a certain teacher, when certain trainer, when they conduct a program, sorry, they do it in such a nice way, either with a certain style or a depth of knowledge or whatever.
Yeah.
And I used to feel, oh, I would like to become like that teacher. I would also love to master a thing so nicely, or be able to conduct a program so professionally, or whatever it may be. So then after becoming a teacher, then of course you think, oh, I would love to, at least in my case, I don't know about of course, but like in my case, then I thought, yeah, no, I would love to be able to conduct this and this program as well. So initially, definitely that was there. And the same way, not even just when it comes to, you can say, positions or roles, but also when it comes to the knowledge, or the techniques, where I would hear like Gurudev speak about, for example, the Patanjali Yoga Sutras.
Yeah.
And beautiful knowledge. And then I used to feel, oh, I would love to also have this knowledge,
Yeah.
So I would listen to his talks, I would make notes, do a little research. And I think to some extent, because you were saying about whether it's the material world or the spiritual world, to some extent, that has to be there, at least initially. Like even in the scriptures, they say you need to have a desire to be free, or to be liberated, or to reach that knowledge, or to have a certain experience. Because anything we do, until you come to a point where you're so contented that drops off. But until then, we do it because there is an intention or a desire behind it.
Yeah.
So mind is pulled in so many directions, and you move in that direction. So initially, I would say that to come out of some of these worldly things, you need to have a desire for something else, or something more, or something different.
Yeah.
Like for me, like I said, I didn't have a pull at all to pursue a, you can say, general job, or get a really good position in a company, or any of those things, because my focus was that I would like to contribute in a bigger way. I want to serve in a bigger way. Yeah. So that's also a desire, of course. But then I've noticed that as time went by, and I guess that's part of the spiritual journey also, that I came to a point where you say that, I'm just very happy, and okay, we do what is required. And the interesting thing is that when that started happening, that is when these things happened. That, for example, Gurudev said, okay, he gave me this opportunity to become a Swami. Yeah. And once when someone asked him about this, that, okay, what does it mean to be a Swami, or, what are the prerequisites? So he said, no, it's someone who has very little needs. someone who doesn't need much for himself or herself, but who says, I am available for whatever is required. I'm available to serve. And I think, and I can relate to that, because sometimes people think, oh, Swami means whenever you see there may be a nice program,
Yes.
people drive them around in a nice car, or they stay in a nice house. Of
Yeah.
course, it depends. I've worked in jungle areas, interior places,
Yeah.
with indigenous people, like in Arunachal Pradesh and all, where I stayed in bamboo huts, just eating
Yeah.
boiled leaves and rice.
Yeah.
But of course, yeah, when I go to a place, people, they love to host me, they love to, show me around. But the thing is, for me, like, it depends. So you stay in all kinds of places, and it's all fine. Sometimes you may eat from a very fancy plate, another day you may eat out of a wooden bowl.
Yeah.
And the beauty is, I think, so it's also, sometimes I feel, sometimes there's a misconception where people feel, oh, as a sannyasi or as a monk, you should only have the mere basics. They say, okay, you have renounced everything, which means you're not supposed to enjoy other things. But the true renunciation, if you see even the meaning of sannyasa means being centered in any situation, which means you may have nothing and you're happy, or you may have everything and still you're happy, but it doesn't affect you. And I think that is the beauty of having a master like Gurudev, where you see that in any situation he is so comfortable. He doesn't run away also. If someone says, okay, I would like to drive you around in my nice car,
Yeah.
he doesn't say, no, I should only go in a bullock cart.
Yeah.
He's untouched. But at the same time, if he has to travel in a local train or bus, he's not affected. He doesn't complain. He doesn't feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And the same is with, you see, with the family. Sometimes, like, if, for example, some of the Buddhist traditions, when someone becomes a monk, when they renounce, they say, okay, you can never meet your family again. Which, on one hand, you can say, yeah, that attachment with the family is usually the strongest.
Yeah.
So you can say, if someone is still a little wobbly, then that may pull them back into samsara, in this whole worldly life. But at the same time, if you say, if someone really has renounced, if inside they've become so centered, then you shouldn't have to be afraid of, oh, what if that attachment still comes or is still there? Then it's not complete.
Yeah.
And once someone asked Gurudev about this, he said a very beautiful thing. He said, if really someone has renounced, then, and if you're saying, I'm serving the whole world, I'm living my life for the good of all beings, then how can you say that I will serve everybody except the one person who has given life to me? Because sometimes you hear these stories where a mother is denied the meeting with her son, and the mother's love is so strong. So then you're saying, I'm making everybody happy, but the one person who has given you life, who has raised you, is becoming miserable. So that's also not, it's like, it's not complete, it's not right. So it's that beautiful balance, I think. And that's why, if you see, like, in today's world, you can say, oh, Swamiji, why should you have a mobile phone? But then if you need to work in the world, you need a mobile phone. If I don't have a phone, I can't, even the government will go after you, because you need to put a phone number on the forms.
Yeah.
So at the same time, if my phone breaks down and I have to use a very simple phone, for me, it's not a problem.
Yeah.
So I think that's the beauty of having a living master, where knowledge is not just bookish knowledge. It's not just concepts, but it's an experience. And to have someone who can guide you, that if you go a little bit here or there, you can say, okay, no, you do this, or you do it like that. I feel it's a great privilege.
Yeah. So I think we can safely say that the monk can have a Ferrari as well. They don't really need to sell it if they're centered.
As long as you're not attached,
Yeah.
See, and it doesn't have to be mine also. That's the thing. Like, you don't have to, like, if you see, I live out of a suitcase. I travel around. I have just that few sets of clothes. Yes, I have a few more clothes in Bangalore. That's my base. But I may come there only once a year. Like last year also, I was in Africa for a year, traveling all around. So you have that 4 or 5 sets of the same clothes, same color. It's very easy. You don't have any confusion what to wear.
Yes.
So you wear that every day. It's only white. But then at the same time, it doesn't disturb you. So I read once a beautiful saying where it said, you can take a man out of the world, worldly man, but you cannot so easily take the world out of the man. Like you can say, okay, I'll run away to the Himalayas, just go and sit in a monastery and meditate. But if sitting there, you're still worried about your house or your family or your reputation or your bank account, then that's not going to work. At the same time, if you become so centered, then even if you're every day interacting with so many worldly people and doing all these things, like we're running so many projects, but at the same time, you're able to close your eyes and be hollow and empty. Go to bed and sleep peacefully, because there is no craving, aversion, all these things, or very little. And I think, yeah, that is really that aspect of how to implement the knowledge or how to live it.